Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Jannu tribe. And we are continuing where we left the story off yesterday, where Dado has just given birth to quite the surprising little child who kind of reminds me of a tiger shark. We have little Tigaris here, and she actually has seer sight. She doesn't have the traditional look of it, but she does have the underwater breathing ability, really good collecting ability, and she's okay at swimming, better at running, and I think I'm still in shock because I was really expecting another panda pattern child, rather like how Dado has a beautiful Toomey over here, who I really love. Toomey is just very quiet-natured. She just spends most of her time gathering up the acorns and kind of watching from afar as her sister and mother work on things. And her sister Beryl is starting to get much more aggressive aspirations. And I think that Beryl actually wants to collect her sister Toomey and any of the other children that her mother had before she realized that Tigaris is actually a water-breathing child, and take them through the green-blue grasses. She's just really pulled to the shadows of these grasses and all the way over to the other tree, which, if you guys remember, we just found out does have a nest available. That poor Simi, one of our hedgehog creatures, passed away in. And so I think that's what we're going to start working on too. The Seers of the Tide Pools are just kind of a slow but steady group of their own. We'll hopefully re-found Mother's Peninsula and have lots and lots of children, hopefully a lot of water breathing and cracking children born over here, so that we can crack open the clamshells and we can swim into the deep waters. We'll probably unite the Waterfall tribe, and we'll unite the Seer tribe, or at least those who are left of it, and they can work together to just focus on primarily gathering up clamshells and doing a lot of swimming. But the shadows and the inland area really need explored before we move on to the final island. And I think that is where Beryl and her line are going to step in. That's if I can find a mate for Beryl to take, because we do have a few males. If you look at the family tree, we're starting to get a little bit female to male heavy again. But the other problem is the males we do have available are mostly rogue-born. We have Duke Drio. He has the spit snout and the wibbly genetics of somebody born from amongst the rogues. And then we've also got Cloud, we've got Solo, and we have a few other males. Let's see. We did just have Ravan born. He is actually an excellent fisher, though. So he is probably going to come down and he'll move into the Waterfall tribe, because, or at least over to these rivers. It's really to the point where we're having a bit of trouble figuring out how to keep the theme with some of these tribes, because the genetics have always been so diverse in the Jannu tribe. We've been all over the place, but not really specializing in any one direction for quite a while. So we're probably going to start really focusing on specialized genetics to try to get stronger creatures who are a little bit more powerful and can make it across to the next island. And I may start to aggressively chase down some of the immunities that we need, like the H immunity and the C and I immunity that Cloud and Dugdrio have, even if they have other not so great traits. And just getting ready to move on. I've never been to the Killer Island, and I really want to be able to go there with this tribe before the update. So let's see. What else are we doing right now? We're also trying to get the two lost Peninsula females onto nest so that they can go ahead and have their children. And I think Isana is actually not going to make it. No, that's so sad. I don't think she's going to make it in time. Her sister also has to make it onto a nest. So I think we're actually going to move little Taduk, and we're going to rename Taduk, I think. Let's see, he's got cracking and fishing ability. I'm going to name him San C. San C. Yeah, we'll name him Sansi, just because. He kind of reminds me of a bunch of sand. And then, he's got his brother Kuki with him. And then I'm going to go ahead, I think that Mirami, out of the kindness of her heart, especially because it's Kukima's last day alive, is going to allow Ravari to have her child. So we're only going to get one baby out of these 3 pregnant bellies this round, but I think it'll be okay. And yes, we are about to lose Kukima. I think I'm going to go ahead and have him kind of try to do one last search, one last hunt, trying to snag that koi fish. And nope, it got away from him. But that was his last little hunt for the koi fish, because we're going to lose him next, and I'm really going to miss him. He's really been a lot of fun. Oh, and then we've got a fish over here. Oh, and it moved. Curse you, fish. Dang it. See, that's why it's so hard to work with the fishing group, is because the fish run away. So we'll have to get better at figuring out how we can pounce and chase down the fish. All right, and then over in this group, I need to have little Nami actually come back over and join up with Anaro. Oh, look at all these seashells. Anaro's finding all these seashells, and Nami is supposed to crack open the seashells and help look at them and see what kind of messages she's going to find from within. So Anaro is in charge of protecting and watching over and helping to raise Nami and finding tons and tons of clamshells for her. So he's going to run along the beaches and keep looking for them there. And then over here is Anna and her best friend Rira are actually doing a little bit of exploring up on this side of the tide pool. And Isana does have seer sight. She just doesn't see very well because she has short-sighted eyes. So she relies on Rira to help find the clamshells for her so that she can try to help out with the future of the tribe. All right, so they're doing okay. And then there is Lamella, and she's a busy berry collector. And then I'm going to have Racimi come over here and eat some bunny. And then we've got little Ravan. Hopefully, are there any birds nearby? Not at the moment. And he is between some females, so he should be safe. And then we've got Leela, who is sick and pregnant. Leela, what is that all about, my dear? I really need you to have some immunity D children, please. So hopefully she'll be feeling better soon. All right, and we'll go ahead and knock down some of those nuts, and we're gonna leave little Dado here to take care of her new child. Oh, and there's a whole bunch of clamshells in the tide pool now. Oh my gosh. So I think that Dado actually would interpret having had a water-breathing antlered child at the last minute as a way of being forgiven by the ancestors for her more selfish desires earlier in life. And she will be staying here on this side of the island and taking care of her little daughter and introducing her last child, Tigaris, over to this tide pool, where Tigaris can join the tide pool and try to help out with searching down all of the different clamshells and basically belonging to the seer of the tide pool line, even if she may not be a seer herself, because she's not got like... We'll probably end up with lots of little seers, those who can swim and those who have antlers. Though if you have antlers and you have cracking ability, basically you have seer sight. And if you don't have the traditional look, then I would say it's probably just not as strong of a seer sight as it could be. And so we're really hoping that we'll have a new powerful seer born. Isana is one of the most powerful ones right now, kind of like in the Harry Potter world or in other magic-bearing places. The magic, the strength of the magic is often about genetics, just like roll of the dice, if you got lucky enough to see if you've got a lot of that strength. And so we'll say the strength of the prophecy just simply is stronger in creatures who have no pattern fur. Doesn't matter what color, as long as it's no pattern, but the white coloration seems to be the most intense. And then antlers, because you need to have them pointing up to the stars in order to really receive a lot of the messages. And of course, the cracking ability. So Isana fits 2 out of those 3 things, even if she has bad eyesight in her normal sight, not seer sight. And I would say she's probably the strongest of them right now. Nami is strong because she's got 2 out of those 3 things, but it's like, like that would be like low level seer. She wouldn't be the lead seer. So we don't really have like a head priestess at the moment, is I guess what you would call her. And hopefully we'll have another one sometime in the future. All right, and meanwhile, little Doug down here is going to find a crab snack as he slowly but surely works his way over to the Lost Peninsula, and hopefully he will be able to get over to the Lost Peninsula soon. Corey, for crying out loud, get on this nest! She has taken forever to get over to that nest, but Corey is almost on that nest, thank goodness. And then we can have these 2 brothers work on gathering up lots of crabbits. And they're going to pop up and be so shocked when they turn around and they find Corey in their land. And they may even be able to have a few more children with her, at least 1 more child, if everybody hurries and gets onto the nest, Corey. Oh, this is the land she's always wanted to be in, so I don't think she's that bothered by the fact that, like, the males may not be the most conventionally attractive. They have lived in this red sand, harsh land for so long, and she's ready to leave her legacy by hopefully leaving behind some very strong children. Like I mentioned earlier, we are going to start focusing more on trying to unlock all of the different mutations and also get some of the mutations that will be very, very helpful for us on the final island. So like double claws, big body, maybe toxic body, fangs, all of those things need to start making some appearances. All right, and then I think that takes care of everybody except for my beloved little Beryl. So let's go ahead and see what on earth is rustling over here. And it is a bunny. And I think Beryl is going to... Oh my gosh! Oh, Ravanta could have eaten that if we had found it. Yeah, I think this would have convinced Beryl that it is worth it to disappear into the shadows. So I think she's going to convince her sister. She'll just kind of whisper over to Toomey, and she'll try to convince her sister to come this way. But is there any mail that they could take with them? There's a whole bunch of males that could probably move up from living down with the Waterfall tribe, so we'll have to see. But all right, we have one female currently ready to have her baby, so we're gonna say goodbye to one of our original Lost Peninsula females. Goodbye, Rasiana. I'm going to miss you, and we're going to let Ravari have her child now too. So, here we go. Oh. We lost 2 in one go just then. And we had Rila. We have a female that can go over to the Lost Peninsula. Thank goodness. So little Rila is very young. She actually has the cracking ability, which is great because there's a lot of clamshells over the Lost Peninsula. And we'll probably leave her... Ooh, H&I immunity. Oh, of course she would be born with some really needed genetics. Maybe she will end up here instead. Maybe Corey's line will take over. And like Rila will stay here. And Mirami is watching over this sicker older female, and she's bringing her like a few... Oop, there's the little fish. Get the fish, get the fish. You've got the fish cookie. Yes. But I could see Mirami watching over this older female and reassuring her that they will take good care of little Rila. Let's see, Ravari. Rila is a good name for Ravari's child because it has an R in it as well. So I think Ravari is leaving Rira in the care of Mirami, who has been such an amazing mother and has had so many children of her own. And oh my goodness, I'm gonna miss having her mate. Mirami, I'm so sorry that you lost your mate. We'll have to see. Oh, maybe. Hey, we'll have to see. Anaro, are you good enough? Oh, I think so. They share bee immunity, but I'm a little desperate, so maybe that'll work out. So we'll see. Maybe Mirami will bring little Rila down. Rila, we might want to keep those I and H immunities, and that'll be kind of adorable if one of the Lost Peninsula born children actually is left in the care of the Waterfall nest and the Mother's Peninsula. So we'll have to see how that works out. All right, and then meanwhile, I need to watch out down here. Koki does have, oh, and she's old enough. Ora Oka is old enough to have some children. Oh my goodness. Maybe she'll go over and visit with Anaro now. And then Koki is also old enough to have some children. And he might go visit with Nami. We'll have to see. All their genetics are kind of similar at the moment, so I need to be careful. But can these two go ahead and maybe get some fish? Come on, guys. Get the fish together. All right, there's one fish. Come on. Ah, the fish are so hard because they just zip away as soon as you chase them down, and they just go into deeper water. So I'm not very good at fishing, and I need to get Koki out of there. I think he's probably about to use up his temporary underwater breathing. And Nunu, maybe Nunu could go. You know what? I think Nunu might go up north. So I'm going to start sending Nunu up north so that he can intersect with Beryl and her sister, because he's got good collecting. And he's got a very curious nature, and he's got some cracking. So I think because he doesn't have the fishing tail and he doesn't have the ability to breathe underwater, he might, now that he's also of age, he might choose to start leaving the nest and kind of wandering away. And Ravari, let's see, she'll be around for a couple more days, so we'll keep an eye on her. All right, and how are these two friends doing? Pretty good. How's our little seer doing? She's got a couple of the clamshells. We really need to get a bigger group over here. She's so cute. She looks just like a little mouse. I absolutely adore how she looks like a little mouse. It's just the cutest thing. Aha, more clamshells. Good eyesight, Anaro. So Anaro will bring her over here to crack open more clamshells soon. And then, aha, there's a leech. We want to avoid the leech. And then Rira is basically just moving around, searching for more clamshells to bring Isana to. All right, and then let's see. Can you move now? All right, and Dado. has both her hands wrapped around the shoulders of her growing child, Tigaris. So she's going to move with Tigaris. Look at that little face. Oh my gosh. The gills look so interesting. So Dado and Tigaris are going to start moving. There we go. And I'll scooch you over here. They're going to start moving down towards the tide pool, and Dado will bring Tigaris to them to be able to be trained in the ways of what it takes to be a tide pool seer, because she has the traditional signs of it. All right, I'll scooch Isana over here just so she can do something. Who's older? Let's see. We have Lalila and we have Racimi. Racimi is older, so she'll grab a couple snacks, hop this way. Ravan, her son, he's not very good at collecting, so we'll have him move around and look for some fish maybe. He might end up being a stream searcher, so we'll have to see. And finally, Corey, get on that nest! I have been waiting to get Corey on that nest for so long now. I am so glad she's finally there. And then meanwhile, the boys can very excitedly bring Corey some crabbit meat as their first offering to her. Speaking of crabbit meat, Doug Drio has just found some crabbit meat of his own, and he's going to continue working down towards the Lost Peninsula. And then over here, out of the excitement of having found this mysterious plant, I think Beryl would call out to her sister. And so we'll have her sister gather up like 1 or 2 more things and start moving with her. And I'm going to send these 2 towards the nest that we found up north last time. And then meanwhile, hungry Lilia is going to be fine, just kind of collecting up some of the nuts and not really worrying about where those 2 just ran off to. All right. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of a smaller family line. I need to keep an eye on that. And I think I'll send Kuki. This Kuki will be like his father, Kukima, and just like search along the river. Maybe if I just keep my fishers who have high enough fishing ability to go after the koi fish by the rivers, that'll work better than trying to chase down fish in the middle of the ocean like that, because that's not really working for me. All right, and I also need to just start breeding some stronger creatures. So speaking of that, let's see what Corey is up to. Corey, finally, after one of the longest pregnancies that has ever existed, you are going to have your baby. So let's see what it looks like. Oh! For a second, I forgot that Corey didn't mate because I sent her to Lost Peninsula. She didn't mate with a rogue. She actually mated with one of our creatures. And now we have Kunuduk. Does he have big body? He does not have big body, unfortunately. He is kind of nice. Okay, he's got a little bit of fishing. He's got some strength. Not quite as strong as his mother, but that's okay. What to do with him? Well, we'll just keep a good eye on him. Corey has 3 days left to live, so we'll send her down here. And then let's load up. If she was going to try to become a little, like make stronger children. She does not have, does she have antlers secondary? Or excuse me, recessive? She does. Do these guys? They do. I think it would be Solo. I think she would breed with Solo because their genetics are opposing. And he has ram and antler genetics, so there's just a small chance that they would have a child with no horns. And I would definitely want to see if we can get that big body trait in. So, Solo, come on over here, buddy. I'm sorry because you've already taken some damage. But at least you get to have a child with Corey, and we're hoping that it's going to be a pretty strong one. All right, there we go. Yeah, I'm going to have to just really be very strict at trying to figure out what kind of genetics I really want to see our creatures start having. So I'll just have to be very strict at pushing for that. All right, and then we have our little Lost Island group set up over here. And Corey does have immunity C. Did she pass that on to her son? She did not, but that's okay. So I don't know if Kunuduk will stay there, but we'll see. All right, and then over here, another seer, maybe? No, I don't think so, because she doesn't have, she's just going to be one of the forest deer, I think, who kind of wander in the area. No, and I totally ruined her name. She has stripes. What is with our genetics? They're just all over the place. The family never really looks like each other. She's really cute, though. I think I'm going to name her Bernie? Bera? Let's name her, she's just going to be Beria. Beria? Yeah, Beria. kind of like Barry. So she's got pink antlers, but she does not have the cracking ability. So I think she's going to spend most of her time up on land too. Yeah, I think we're just going to have a little group of wanderers starting up. And that's what my main focus is going to be. Radhan with level 3 fishing will go over, and I'll send him to the streams. He can help out with collecting from the streams. And then I just need to have more of my creatures spread out a bit more, I think, so that they can start collecting up some things properly. And then Nami is finally old enough to have children of her own, and I really think that she and Anaro may have some interesting children, even if they don't have the kind of children that we would normally be aiming for the Seers of the Tidepool. Oh, yay! And Isana just found a wonderful clam, all on her very own. Good job, Isana. Let's see, and it doesn't... Rira, how did you get a... No, Rira! Oh, Isana just saw that there's this horrific leech attached to her good friend Rira, and she's going to cure Rira of that awful leech. And then we're going to have little Tigaris come down here, and her mother will stay with her and be guiding her towards where all of the creatures who know about the Seers of the Tidepool are. Alright, and Rodhan is going to be called over to the streams. Yeah, I think we're going to start spreading our creatures out a little bit so that they've got a little bit more room to roam, and so we can start just covering more ground on the island. But what kind of children to have with them to send to the Killer Island? I've never been to the Killer Island, so I don't know what to be prepared for. I honestly feel like Barrel's line, the dark pandas are kind of what I want to send to the Killer Island, because I can imagine... I think that's what we may do. I may just let some of our creatures breed freely, form relationships. We have enough food. We don't really have to worry about being super specific on food. And I'll just start letting them kind of form their own stories. And then everybody else, like up here, will actually be getting ready to move to the next island. So Corey's line and Barrel's line will be the ones that I'll focus on trying to breed up traits that are really, really specific to getting to the Killer Island for. And I think that'll probably be the thing that works out best. And like Berea with that kind of movement and strength and venomous, I think that she may be drafted in by these ladies. She'll just be called up to the shadows, up to the north. Not like dark evil shadows, just there's you know, not everybody wants to become a water-bearing creature the way that a lot of our creatures are. Alright, and Tumi, I'm gonna start clearing the way for you and your sister so that they can just push through. Here we go. And they're going to make their way over to this nest over here. And speaking of making their way over to the nest, I think I was getting ready to send Nunu up there. He doesn't have a lot of strength, but is he good for possible breeding with them? Not really. He actually has similar genetics to both of them, but he has normal sighted eyes and normal blood clotting, so maybe I'll send him up anyway. I don't have a lot of extra males to pick from is kind of my problem. Now there is some D immunity on Kuki though, and he does have venomous fangs. You know what, Kuki? I think that you, my friend, even though you are an underwater breather, we'll have to see. Sansi has B immunity, and he's a male, but I think we already have B among my females here. Yep. Kuki, you might have to wander up and say hello to Beryl at some point in your young life, but he's still young right now, so where are those fish? I really want him to... Oh, he can go into the river! I can send him into the river because he has underwater breathing and to chase down those fish. Oh, and speaking of in the rivers... Oh my gosh! Okay, I've got to get Koki out of here. Koki! Hang on, buddy! Okay, he's eaten the clam again, and we'll get his sister up here, or Oka. And I need to have her start breeding with somebody too, so she can pass on her amazing abilities and hopefully have lots of little orca children. So, And then I'm going to have Rarari go ahead and spend a peaceful day just gathering up some clamshells and knowing that little baby Rila, with her unique I and H immunities, is going to be in very good hands and very safe. And let's see, Sansi, he can go ahead and just look for clamshells, I think. Yeah, he may help with searching to the north too. So, because basically anybody who can't swim is going to help me finish exploring the island right now. I think that's a good trade-off. And then it looks like we just had a koi fish suddenly end up dead, and that's pretty useful for Nunu to be able to grab. All right, Yeah, sometimes I'll get myself too tangled up in the story, so I'm trying to back up off the story for a little bit. However, there is somebody that I'm really curious to see what their children would look like. So I think we're going to go ahead and we are going to swap in. Ooh, let's do the beak. Let's put in the beak just in case. And gray fur just in case. And I want to see, because I'm really curious, what Anaro and Nami's children would look like. I feel like that they have had a pretty good relationship for long enough that we're going to go ahead and pop her up there. Look at her little tail. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. And we're going to send them over here, and he's going to keep an eye on her. And we're going to see. And then meanwhile, Oroka is like, I will be coming for you soon too, Anaro. And we'll see what his children are going to look like with those beautiful orange eyes. So that'll be fun. All right, does that cover pretty much everybody? Let's have you step over here and get some fruit to eat. Yep, I think that covers everybody. Whew. All right, so we're starting to make a little bit more progress, and I feel pretty good with picking that. I'll just start focusing on everybody born from like my panda line, and maybe some of the ones born from over on Melon's Peninsula. Those are the places that I'll really start focusing on specific genetics to get ready for the killer island. But otherwise, we'll just sort of let everybody else get away from this bunny. We'll let everybody else just kind of breed freely because we have so much food, and just be content that we'll just pick out the healthiest and the happiest from whoever gets born down here. And everybody to the north in the nest up here are going to be the ones where we'll start messing around the mutation menu and really trying to prepare for the killer island. And then all of my stray boys will start exploring all over the place, which will be really convenient for Toomey and Beryl to possibly run into mates that they may need while I'm trying to breed up super strong children. And they can also help me as my free exploring males to finish exploring the island. So we're getting there, you guys. Thank you for your patience while I figure it all out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.